Hello everyone, my name is Jake and this is my channel Wishlist, and today I want to give you some inspiration if you are looking to set up a community Lake Tanganyikan tank, and this aquarium is the perfect aquarium to showcase to be able to help you out with that because it has a variety of different fish. I think some would say probably too many fish. However, I think it's perfect, and it has recently reached a point where I just love how it is set up and the combination of fish that are in here. And so I decided I wanted to make a video on this tank for people that are looking to set up their own Tanganyikan aquarium, just to give you some things to think about with your setup, and also to give you some ideas on tank mates, because there are quite a few different kinds of fish in here. That doesn't mean you need to take this exact combination of fish. I'll have the list of all of the fish down in the description if you want to check it out. But you could take some of these fish, maybe pick two and put it in a smaller aquarium, a 4-foot aquarium, or just take a bits and pieces of it and scale it down to where it fits what you're putting it in. Just to start though, just so that you know what I have going on here, this is a 210 gallon 6-foot aquarium, and it has been running for over a year now. I've had a few different fish be added to it during that time, but it has recently been kind of arrived at a point where I'm pretty happy with the setup. It is filtered with 2 Owazi Biomaster filters. That it's actually, this aquarium is sitting above another aquarium, and so I have some PVC pipe that runs to either side of the aquarium from the Owazi Biomaster, which are not the strongest filters, at least as far as flow goes, but even with that, it still really remains very pristine, and I rarely do much filter maintenance on it. The cool thing about Tanganyikans is that they really don't need, in fact, you probably shouldn't have a ton of light with most Tanganyikan fish. It kind of washes out their colors. Tanganyikan fish are just very subtle with their colorations, and so the more light you have, I feel like it kind of washes them out a little bit. And so this is being lit by a very cheap, I think it's like a $45 4-foot light, and honestly I really like the way it looks. I used to have a brighter light on it, but I just got algae and that was about it. It's not that you can't put plants in with Tanganyikans. You can. There are some. They don't all eat plants, but they do tend to dig a little bit. I started this aquarium off and I did have some plants in there. However, they kind of dug them up and they floated to the top, and after a while I just decided, I don't think they really need it, other than a little pothos plant that's sticking up the top and really doesn't grow much. I'm not really sure how much it sucks out as far as nitrates go, but I only have to do water changes on this tank probably every 2 or 3 weeks, maybe every 3 weeks right now. And that seems to be enough. I test the nitrates every week and they don't seem to get very high, so that should be enough. All right, so the reason that you came here and the thing that I wanted to talk about with this tank is its occupants. What kinds of fish can you put together? Now, you might get different things happening with different combinations of these fish, but I think that you could probably take all of these fish and scale them down or scale them in different ways and put them in tanks if you want to just pick 2 or 3 or something like that. But there's a lot of different kinds in here because I have other Tanganyikan tanks and I've had them breed, and then I have extra fish, and so I just kind of toss them in this 210, so it's a little bit of a catch-all. So let's start with the biggest fish in here. This big guy swimming right here is a Cyathopharynx Foai. It is a featherfin cichlid. Now, not all featherfin cichlids would go well with this combination. Some of them can be very mean. These guys are definitely the tank bosses. However, I've never seen them completely attack a fish or hurt another fish, but they definitely will chase fish off. I took them out of this tank for a while and put them in another aquarium and then added them back in later, and I did not have any problems. They all recognized who the tank bosses were when they got added back in there. So that is the silvery fishes swimming up here. When they get into breeding colors, they are the most colorful fish you've ever seen. In for that reason, I probably will take them out of here again one day, just because I do want them to breed and I want to see that coloration. Sometimes they'll get a little darker in here, but not all the time. I also have some, and this is a recent addition to this tank, some Tretocephalus, Neolamprologus Tretocephalus, which are like a small frontosa, is kind of how they're referred to, these striped, blue and striped fish. Absolutely love these guys. I added them in here. I was a little worried about like this guy right here. I thought maybe he was going to be a little too small. I should also add that a lot of these are rock-dwelling cichlids, so lots of rocks like you see here is advantageous, but these, the Trets, they're doing great in here. You also have a Bristlenose Pleco, which is the only one that's out of place, who just keeps the rocks clean and is doing great. Just since I see him right now, and I may not see him again, I'll point him out. Neolamprologus Leleupi are these yellow ones right here. I only bought 3 originally, so all of the other smaller ones that you see here I have bred. A lot of them bred in a community tank that I had set up before this that was a 4-foot community tank with daffodils and Julidichromis. So they're a little prolific. They'll breed for you, which is kind of cool. So you'll see a lot of those little ones in here, and they can kind of breed in community. They will, most of them will get eaten, but you can breed them a little bit. Some other fish here. You've got the daffodil cichlids that I already mentioned, which are these stunning long trailing fins. Absolutely amazing. Now, if you're going to do the daffodils, just realize that they breed like crazy. In fact, having the daffodils in this tank with all of these fish kind of makes it hard for the daffodils to breed. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I have this many fish in here. Honestly, it kind of revolves around them, because I added more fish until I could make sure that they couldn't fill up the tank, because for a while they were. One of the reasons why I had to add the Foai back into this tank is because the daffodils took it over. So those are the only ones that I would say just be careful with a combination of fish. If you're going to add just 2 of these fish, if you add the daffodils to any group, you really need to be careful with their population, because they will breed like crazy, they will get very aggressive, and they will take over the tank. I also have Julidichromis Reganis in here. I'm sure you see a couple back there on the rock. They are absolutely stunning fish. They kind of swim sideways and up the walls. It's kind of fun to watch them. They too have made a few babies, and you'll see those around here. They don't grow very fast. They're around here somewhere. I'm not sure exactly. Oh, there's one over there. It's a very small one. So they've made a few babies kind of right on the sand. I don't know if you can see it. It's pretty tiny. But, oh, there we go. Sorry, I couldn't get it in frame. So yeah, they are another great fish that you could put together in here. One of my favorites are these Altolamprologus Compressiceps. I have a video about them called the Donald Trump Cichlid, which seems to spark a lot of controversy from both sides. Just a running gag in my family that, I don't know, that's just what we call it. Just funny face. Take from that what you will. Not a political statement at all. Just a fun thing to say. So those are a great fish. They're another one that kind of helps control the daffodil cichlids. Very similar fish to that I don't have in this tank is the Altolamprologus calvus, which is one that I do want to own, but I don't think I'll add that one to this tank. Maybe sometime in the future, but my understanding is they have very similar behavior. Right here we have a stunning Cyprichromis, Leptosoma, jumbo, which are beautiful fish. I have not successfully been able to breed them in this tank though. Sardine cichlid is the other name for that, but they kind of occupy most of the time the top water, although they'll stay around the rocks most of the time too, but absolutely stunning fish. There is a couple different kinds of catfish in here. There's the Multipunctatus and the Lucipinis. This is a Lucipinis that we're looking at, which is kind of like a smaller version of the Synodontis Multipunctatus. I've seen, and you've probably seen, a couple of the Multipunctatus coming by too. There's one of the Lucipinis and one of the Multipunctatus. Interestingly enough, I had 2 Lucipinis in a different tank, actually 3, and one of them killed the other one. So they seem to be a little aggressive. So I only have 1 in here because it seems like when I have 2 of them, I have problems. So that's another one that's in here. They're really fun swimming in and out of the rocks. Beautiful little catfish. Definitely a must-have if you have a community Lake Tanganyikan tank. There are a couple kind of random fish in here. This guy on the rocks, kind of the striped dotted guy that you see here, it was sold as, it was kind of on sale. It was a fish that was on sale. It was sold as a Chalinochromis species. So it's not, and apparently here's a couple of them. One of them just took exception to him and chased him off. But I don't really know a ton about that other than it's a Tanganyikan cichlid, and apparently it's not well named or known, and it was on sale. So that's why I have it. But that's one that I have in here. Another kind of the fish that maybe don't belong in here, if I can find one. I have some Neolamprologus Multipunctatus. They're right over there above those shells. And that is a fish that generally does better in a species-only tank. And I have a large species-only tank with a ton of them. However, it got pretty overpopulated, and like they always do, they'll always breed like crazy. And so I had a ton of them. So I just decided, you know what, why not take some out and put them in here? I wouldn't recommend doing a community tank with those guys unless it's a larger tank. I have never seen one of them in here get killed. So they seem to be getting along just fine in this aquarium. So maybe one to consider, but probably only if you have a larger tank. But a lot of these other ones, I'd say you can combine to make some beautiful, stunning aquariums. I'm looking around right now to make sure I didn't forget any, because there are quite a few different fish in this tank, and I do believe that I got them all. So if you are looking for Lake Tanganyikan ideas and community tanks, and you want some ideas on some fish, this is a perfect example for you, and I hope this was helpful. If you have any other fish that are similar to these fish that you think could go well in this setup, I invite you to leave those down in the comment section below. I think I'm maxed out here, but anybody coming along after that watches this video, I'm sure they would appreciate getting some more ideas, and we can work together as a community to come up with some more Lake Tanganyikan stunners. So thanks a lot for watching. I really appreciate you all for being here, and I will see you in the next one. Fwishlist out.